In today's video, I'm gonna show you the 5 most common mistakes beginning photographers make when editing their photos. Creating great images in camera is just half of the creative process. From there are still several steps that we have to go through before we can show the photo to anyone or print it. These steps are the part of the creative process that we generally refer to as post-production. This time spent in front of our computer can quickly become a real pain if we approach it without a clear and structured workflow. It can also make or break our photography. While it's almost impossible to recover a very bad file out of camera, it's very easy on the other hand to ruin a perfect file by applying the wrong post-production. If you're new to this channel, I publish weekly content where I share everything I learned in more than 10 years working as a professional nature and wildlife photographer. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. The first big mistake I see in post-production is not having a fixed folder structure that can be applied consistently over time. This might seem a bit irrelevant with actual post-production, but it's actually a big deal because if we cannot find our photos, if we cannot access our files, there's nothing to post-produce. Every time you go out shooting wildlife, you come back with thousands, if not tens of thousands of photos, and dumping all of these files into a folder, maybe named with the place, it's not a great long-term strategy. Very soon you will find yourself with a mess of hard drives and folders and no idea of how to find that photo that you want to get printed. My advice here is for every big trip or every major project you're working on, you should create a folder that is named with year, month, day, dash, name of the place or name of the project, whatever you want. This way, if you sort the folders by name, you will have a chronological order. You can remember that you took that specific photo in that place, in that year. So you go back and you start tracking the year, the month, and then you go through and you find the exact photo that you want to find. The second thing I see happening all the time is to not have a clear system to sort our photo and select the one that we want to post-produce. Most of the time I see photographers just dumping everything into Lightroom or Capture One libraries, scroll down through the previews and almost randomly pick the photos that stick out. This approach is clearly not the best. It's a big waste of time because we keep scrolling over and over again through all of this catalog. We are not sure we are actually selecting the best photos because we are just scrolling up and down, selecting a photo here, a photo there. So it's not guaranteed that we are actually selecting the best ones. And also we can miss a lot of good photos just because they don't catch our eye. The best way I found over the years is to use the 1 to 5 stars method. I would go very quickly the first time through all the photos, rating 1 star everything that I consider I can keep, and leaving at 0 everything that I consider completely unusable, like completely overexposed, completely underexposed, out of focus, the composition is completely off, shots that are taken by mistake. All of this stays at 0, everything that is usable goes at 1 star. With this first step, I would usually take my selection down to 50%, so if I had 1000 images, I would have around 500 1-star images. After that, I filter my collection so that it shows only the 1-star rated images, and I start getting to the next step, the 2 stars. This stage is still quite loose. I just try to get my 500 1-star images down to 200 or 250, so around 50% of them. After that, I take my 2-star rated images. This stage is where I start being more picky, checking the position of the subject, the composition, even the slight difference that might occur between a shot and the other when I shoot in the burst mode. And here I try to take my 200, 250 photos that were 2 stars, down to maybe 40, 50. Now with these 40, 50 images out of the 1000 I started with, I will post-produce probably all of them so that I have different variations that I can use in different formats for maybe social media, website, prints, whatever I can use them for. After that, I will rate 4 stars, the ones that are the absolute best, 4, 5 photos over the original 1000. This might seem like a very long process, but it's actually very efficient because for every step you are looking at less and less and less photos, and in the first pass, when you're looking at everything, you are scrolling very fast, just checking the complete trash photos from the usable ones, and for every step you go on, you're looking at less photos and be more selective with what you're looking at. Of course, this whole process gets much easier if we have great files straight out of camera. If you just started doing wildlife or if you feel stuck in your creative process, I created a 100 pages ebook where I cover all the basics, from choosing the right gear to camera settings, compositions, and dealing with different light situations. You can download it for free. Just click in the link down here in the description, sign up to my newsletter, and you will receive it straight to your inbox. The next mistake that I see all the time is not doing what the image is asking for in post-production. A lot of times, especially at the beginning, photographers learn editing like a set of instructions. I should warm up the photo a bit, I should add the contrast, I should lower the highlights, and then they apply the same approach to every photo regardless of what's happening in the photo. This is a big mistake because every photo is different and every scenario is different. If the photo is very flat, we need to create and build back some contrast. If it's already super contrasty, we might need to take some of this contrast back. And so we have to approach every single image looking at what it needs instead of just moving these sliders up and down in the same way for every photo. The fourth problem is overdoing editing. It's very easy to push sliders in a software, probably too easy, and very often we don't realize that we are overdoing it. Always be careful not to push too much saturation, too much contrast, too much whatever you're applying. Go until you think it's right, and then if you're not sure, just back that slider just a bit to make sure you stay within the proper limits. The fifth and last mistake that I see all the time is people trying to rescue bad images through editing. While learning how to properly edit images can really take our photography game to the next level, if we have bad photos straight out of camera, it's just wasted time trying to make them look good. Maybe it will be possible sometimes, but I think it's much better to invest time and energy in practicing with your camera and learning how to get the most out of it so that you can spend more time out looking for wildlife and less in front of your computer. I don't know about you, but I started wildlife photography because I love being out in the wilderness looking for animals and not here in the office in front of my computer. Learn how to get the best out of camera. Remember to download my ebook. There is the link down here for my newsletter. You will receive it. As always, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment down below and see you next week.